Warning: this video does feature talks of suicide and murder. Sensitive viewers may not want to engage with the content. So this was supposed to be a video about Gears of War, however on day 2 of trying to play the game, after finishing chapter 1, I was given this "we're having issues loading your game" message. I spent like 4 hours trying to fix it, and I needed something with a relatively similar playtime, and while this may be unfair, I'm covering a remake of a game that I played back in middle school. We're talking about Corpse Party. Now, for a majority of you, you probably found out about Corpse Party the same way I did.
How's it going, Brett? My name's PewDiePie. Welcome to Corpse Party.
And after watching it, I had to play it. However, I was a poor kid, so I played the original 98 RPG Maker version. The writing at the time was amazing to me. The horror was quite creepy for what it was, though the sprite art leaves something to be desired. I'll admit, it's still quite charming for what it is. But then, for some reason, I never played the sequels. Well, last year, there was an announcement for Corpse Party 2, so the remaster went into my wishlist, and I never had a reason to play it until now. Funny enough, despite not having played Book of Shadows, I do have this collector's edition of Blood Drive that I picked up when I got my Vita. I'm personally pretty happy with it as a game collector. The art on the cover is quite shiny and has this raised lettering. The back is pretty nice looking, although I'm a little concerned about the 3D sprite stuff, as it feels totally different from like the rest of the art style of the series. Let's see, breaking into the packaging, we actually have quite a few items. We have this art book, although this cover probably looks like it comes from Book of Shadows, if I had to guess, based off of, the fact that it's a book. And it's full of quite a lot of really good art from Corpse Party Book of Shadows, Corpse Party Blood Drive, and I'm quite a fan of all of it, although some of the art is definitely questionable, to say the least, because, these characters are supposed to be 17, The next item in the packaging is a soundtrack, and this isn't just your standard have the soundtrack for Corpse Party Blood Drive. It actually has 76 songs featuring music from Corpse Party Book of Shadows, Corpse Party Blood Drive. The art on the discs is quite good. I recognize the art from one as something that would have come out of Corpse Party Blood Covered, the original, but I don't recognize this other disc, which leads me to believe that it's most likely from Book of Shadows. And, of course, the last item in the packaging is the game itself. I do quite like this cover art, although it's, creepy in a subliminal way. The actual, art itself is rather cute until, you notice the blacked out faces. Yeah, pretty good package overall, which I paid $50 for on a Black Friday sale when I picked up my Vita. Now, I'm actually looking for more games for my Vita, so if anyone has any suggestion in, the comments or whatever, that would be super cool. Thank you. Always happy to take suggestions. For now, let's talk about the game itself. Immediately, the art style feels super familiar from games from, Mad Father, Witch's House, The Crooked Man, and Misao, to name the most famous off the top of my head. And I have seen playthroughs back in the day. It looks like they're using the same art as the 3DS port of the game. Nonetheless, if you were to compare the original to this, they are light years apart. The sprites feel a lot more like they're emoting when it comes to scenes of Seiko choking Naomi, or Satoshi falling over in shock. However, what I'm sure you're more interested in is the crucial question for any remake or remaster: what's in a remake? Well, this one actually has quite a few changes. So the initial version of Corpse Party had 54 endings overall that you could get, bad ends taking up a majority, though each chapter has a true ending you can get. I've never actually taken the time to get each ending, however it appears that the remaster they've added 27 additional chapters that add on to the War of the School. I would actually love to sit down and take the time to play each of these, maybe at 100 subs when I intend to start streaming again. The pixel art and the sprites are all new. And it has a brand new soundtrack, binaural audio, which is usually wasted on me. I have this weird habit where I only use one headphone at a time. I don't know what it is, I've just never felt comfortable with 2 headphones at once. And the biggest change in my opinion is including full voice acting for the first time. Every character now has the chance to fully show their tone, and this would be great if I understood the intricacies of Japanese voice acting, but I'm American and I only speak one language, much to my dismay. The story is overall the exact same, so we're going to do what we typically do. Cover the first part of the game, move on to me sharing my thoughts, and then, give it a rating. If you want a more in-depth review of these games, I recommend checking out Taf9's video on the rise and fall of Corpse Party. It's about an hour long, has full spoilers for the franchise, and is quite well edited. So, late at night in this high school, a group of friends are hanging out and telling ghost stories together when the power suddenly goes out. When it comes back on, we're acquainted with the whole cast, including the teacher and Satoshi's little sister. Maybe it's just a me thing, but anime as a whole has kind of ruined the whole little sister thing for me. I think I die a little inside anytime I hear the word Onichan! Anyways, though, it appears our classmate Ayumi found a charm online, if I had to guess, probably 4chan, or the Japanese equivalency 2chan, called the Sachiko Forever Charm. So, everyone takes a grip of a small paper doll and recites Sachiko, we beg of you. Theoretically, if done correctly, it will allow the group to stay friends forever. However, as soon as they do it, an earthquake starts, and every member of the group is paired off or sent elsewhere. It seems that we're in a new school now. Exploring, it appears we've been sent to a place called Heavenly Host, an elementary school that was shut down after a grisly set of murders. And the first chapter features Naomi and Seiko. We see a lot of horrific things, honestly. We see dead bodies, a huge splat of gore on the wall that was likely once a person, and ghosts, who tell us it will be difficult to be rejoined with our friends, as they're in an alternate dimension, parallel to us. Also, side tangent, I might be wrong, is this the first instance of a gay character in an RPG Maker game? If so, slay? As they explore, we do start to see Naomi and Seiko's sanity start to crumble, as it would appear any sane person or normal teenager. This is a lot of stress to force onto one person. They get into a fight and they're separated, and Naomi instantly feels bad about it and tries to immediately make up with Seiko. However, it appears that it was too much for her as we find her hanging in the bathroom stall. And that ends chapter 1. It's just as creepy as I remember it be, though unfortunately this may just be a me thing. I find it rare that a horror game stays scary the entire way through, other than like one rare specimen that I haven't been brave enough to sit down and finish. But like, you know, playing Outlast or Silent Hill 2, by the end the horror is sort of worn off, and that did start to happen for me a bit here. By the last chapter I'd become so accustomed to its bag of tricks that it became a yeah, I get it, moving on thing. But the first chapter was a nice spooky walk down memory lane for me. I really can't complain about it, so I'm going to complain about one thing in particular. So Yuka is like the little sister character, and she gets paired up with Satoshi, which totally makes sense to me, as he really only has a rapport with this one character. He's supposed to be like their fearless leader, so obviously he cares deeply for his friends, but due to the nature of this game, we don't get to see them spend a ton of time together. Though apparently he's quite oblivious, as is stated on his wiki page, that 9 characters have a crush on him and he simply just doesn't know. Wait, hold on. In the crushes sections, it's stated that Yuka loves him more than a brother. Ew! Seriously, this is why I stopped watching anime. That's disgusting. I'm gonna hope that's non-canon. But, speaking of Yuka, her plotline in this game is really nothing. The majority of their chapters focus on finding Yuka a bathroom so she doesn't pee herself. I wish I was kidding. Seriously, there's a perfectly good bucket outside of Class 1A, but no, she needs a real bathroom. I don't know, I might just be a little too old for this stuff. As I kind of grimace and cringe at it, it's weird. So the CG's got entirely renewed for this game, so each bad ending I saw was accompanied by brilliant art or imagery, such as one where you look a ghost in the eye, and you see that it's missing its tongue and an eye, which then proceeds to use a pair of scissors to take your eye out. You can hear the scraping through the binaural audio, which just made me kind of cringe. Between you and me, I have this thing I do with my hands when I feel uncomfortable. I kind of like tense my hands up, I rub my thumbs against my pointer fingers, and I start shaking my hands to shake the feeling out. I actually did this quite a few times over the course of the game, and now you know a little more about me. Personally though, and I have to say that my favorite bad ending was in Chapter 2, where you find these like victims notes over the course of the game, and it's like 1 through 5 in this chapter in particular, and you start reading about how this group of teenagers played rock, paper, scissors to see who was going to eat one another. And over the course of the notes, you can see the person that won really start to lose their mind until it's revealed that you kind of snap reading the last one and you eat the person that you're with. Just kind of gross, but in a cool way. Thanks for making it this far. If you like the content, a like or comment is always appreciated. If you really like the content, a sub is huge. And if you really, really like the content, I do have a Patreon. $5 gets your name in the video, 10 gets a message included. I intend to start covering visual novels and more mature long-form videos next year, so that $5 will also get you access to uncensored versions of videos, so that's fun. At a suggested playtime of 10 hours, I finished Corpse Party Blood Covered Remake in 9.3 hours. On my scale, I give this game a rating of 8 out of 10. It's a good game from a bygone era of games that we simply just don't get to see anymore. There is a lot more to this game's story, and I highly recommend you check it out, whether it be the remake, a port of the original, or if you're feeling spicy, the translation of the RPG Maker 98 version. For now, thank you for watching. Have a good evening, night, or morning wherever you are, and be the change you want to see in the world.